Hello everybody, it's Non-Scene News here, and today we've got a lot of breaking updates today. So the first news is coming from the Economic Forum, the Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok. So if you guys remember, Vladimir Putin was hosting the Eastern Economic Forum. So within this forum, Vladimir Putin stated a lot of things. So one, he stated that the Far East has become Russia's stronghold in the new global economic reality. The future development of Russia largely depends on the Far East development. He also talked about how domestic housing is booming in the Far East, and he also mentioned that Russia is prepared to rapidly and effectively build transport and infrastructure in Russia's Far East, and Putin has invited other countries to join in developing the Far East transportation routes. Putin has also proposed building nuclear power plants in the Far East. He stated that I would also like the government to think about building nuclear power plants in the Russia's Far East. This plan should take into account both the current needs and as well as the needs we anticipate in the future among business and our citizens. And of course, it should take into account the long term, Putin stated. And another thing, so Putin actually talked a little bit about Kamala Harris. So he stated that Biden was removed from the 2024 presidential race, so now Russia's support is his successor, so Kamala Harris. So Putin has kind of endorsed Kamala Harris. So obviously, as I just said, Biden was removed from the 2024 presidential race, so now Russia's support his successor, Kamala Harris. He also stated that Trump imposed huge numbers of sanctions against Russia. We hope Kamala Harris will not repeat this policy. Now we've got some news coming from Malaysia, because the Malaysian Prime Minister actually visited the Economic Forum too. So the Malaysian Prime Minister stated that and shows a lot of interest in joining BRICS. And the Malaysian Prime Minister, after the meeting with Putin at the Eastern Economic Forum, stated that he had accepted an invitation to attend the BRICS summit in Kazan in October. So a lot of countries are now participating in this big BRICS meeting that's going to be happening next month. So China, all the big players now, Malaysia and Turkey, Armenia, everyone is attending this Kazan meeting, but except one person, which I'm very surprised about, which I will talk about a little bit later. But let's get into some Russian updates. So, Russia has begun preparations for the production of the first samples of the 5th generation Checkmate light combat aircraft. The press service of Rostec State Corporation told Sputnik ahead of the Dubai Air Show 2023. So this is the Sukhoi Su-75 Checkmate. So the fighter payload exceeds 7 tons, and it will be able to engage up to 6 targets simultaneously. The single-engine aircraft is designed to fly at Mach 1.8 to a range of 3,000 kilometers. So this is Russia's new fighter jet. So he also stated that Middle Eastern African countries are interested in Russia's Checkmate fighter jet. So a number of Middle Eastern and African countries have shown interest in the Russian Checkmate light tactical fighter, and the project proposals have been forwarded to interested partners at the head of the Russian state arms exporter. So here's a picture of the Russian Su-57 and the Su-75 Checkmate. So obviously the big difference is that the Su-75 is a single engine aircraft, which will probably be cheaper and more affordable than the Su-57. So I'll keep you updated on this jet. Now we've got some statements coming from Sergei Lavrov, the Foreign Minister of Russia. So Sergei Lavrov stated that there is no need to joke with our red lines. The Americans know what they are. So he's stating that, because we got some news that America might be giving Ukraine certain weapons that can strike deep into Russia, and Sergei Lavrov stated that there is no joke without red lines. The Americans know where they are. So, very concerning news. And probably one of the biggest news is that we had news of a kamikaze drone crash in Gromel, the Belarusian city. So a kamikaze drone was shot down, according to the Belarusian military as well, was shot down above the territory of Belarus. So if you can see here, in the bottom left corner, we can clearly see a drone falling down. It was clearly shot down. So we can actually see here in the bottom left corner, you can actually see the fall of the drone that was shot down by Belarusian air defenses in the Gromel city here. The explosion shows that the drone was from a military unit. All of its debris is currently being collected and being analysed of whose drone it is. So very interesting news. I'll keep you updated on that. And we've also got news that a Japanese spy was apparently caught in Belarus, according to Belarusian security forces. So Belarusian security forces detained a suspicious foreigner who turned out to be a spy from Japan, apparently from local television. So Japan has already confirmed the detention of its citizen in Belarus, and there'll be more talks about releasing him and stuff, I have no doubt. Now let's get into some Ukrainian updates. So we've got some news coming from Zelensky and the Irish Prime Minister, Simon Harris. So Simon Harris and Vladimir Zelensky have signed an agreement on support and cooperation between Ukraine and Ireland. So this year, Ireland has committed to providing 128 million euros for non-lethal military support and at least 40 million euros for humanitarian aid to Ukraine. Ireland will continue to train the Ukrainian armed forces through the EU military assistance mission. Now, we've got news coming from Zelensky. So Zelensky, if you don't know, a lot of people ended up resigning in the past 24 hours. Like, I'm pretty sure 9 people in the government of Ukraine, and I'm pretty sure there was a couple more that happened today, resigned. So Zelensky has commented on the resigning of many Ukrainian government's positions. And he stated that we need new energy. Zelensky commented on the cabinet reshuffle. So it's a reshuffle. He stated that we need new energy. And the Ukrainian parliament today has just approved Andriy Sybiha as the new head of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He will replace Dmytro, who was dismissed this morning. So there is a new Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs now. President Zelensky also stated that the goals of the Kursk operation are being realized, and the US is close on agreeing on long-range missiles for Ukraine. Delivery would take months though. So long-range cruise missiles capable of reaching deep in Russia might be approved to America. So the US is close to agreeing these long-range missiles. And if you can see here in the bottom left corner, this is just a map of the potential missile range. And obviously, it's quite a big range and could potentially hurt Russia quite a bit. We've also got news coming from Romania. So the Romanian president has signed the decree for the transfer of the Patriot system to Ukraine, and all that is left is to actually transfer the system itself. But Romania has finally agreed to send this Patriot system. We've also got news coming from a Russian attack. So a Russian missile attack happened yesterday, and based on the Ukrainian sources, a Ukrainian Navy boat, the U-540 Shurigorin, was believed have sunk. So a result of a missile strike, the vessel sank along with its crew. And Poland stated that it is ready to help rebuild damaged houses in Lviv. So Lviv needs help. The city center was the target of Russian attacks. Many historic apartments buildings were damaged. Poland is ready to help rebuild them, said the Polish Prime Minister. And within this Russian missile strike in this city, it was very unfortunate, but a 9-year-old Ukrainian girl, ended up losing her life because of this missile attack. Now let's head to the nuclear power plant. So we've got some news coming from the Zaporozhian nuclear power plant. The IAEA, the Director General, Rafael Grossi, stated that the risk of incidents persists as long as active hostilities continue. He acknowledged some progress regarding this facility and emphasized that the situation is stabilizing. So during his visit, Grossi inspected the pumping station and the fuel storage. He also further noted the importance of personally evaluating the circumstances after the August fire in the cooling tower. So that's why he's visiting. So there was actually these two nuclear cooling stations. I'm pretty sure these are actually caught on fire. So there was a huge fire on these nuclear power plants. So this is why he is there. We've also got news coming from Lithuania. So the president of Lithuania stated that NATO has not given up the idea of shooting down Russian missiles over Ukraine, the Lithuanian president stated. We've also got news coming from Germany that the Ukrainian President Zelensky will meet with the German Chancellor Scholz tomorrow, according to the AFP news agency. Zelensky is travelling to attend the Ramstein meeting, where several dozen defense ministers from various countries who have been supporting Ukraine since the war in Ukraine began. So Zelensky will be travelling to Germany, it seems. We've also got news coming from Copenhagen, so Denmark. Danish police arrested activist Greta Thunberg, I think that's how you state her name, at a demonstration at the University of Copenhagen against the war in Gaza. So she was arrested. We've also got news coming from France. So a former European Commissioner and the former French Foreign Minister Michel Barnier has been appointed as the new French Prime Minister. So Michel Barnier was the foreign minister in 2024 to 2025. He also headed the EU Brexit negotiating team. So this is the new Prime Minister of France. So Michel Barnier is the new French Prime Minister, and he was chosen by Macron, the French president. We've also gotten some news coming from Pavel, the Telegram founder. So Pavel Durov was banned from leaving France until March 2025, the Paris Match magazine stated. We've also got some news coming from the English Channel that a Royal Navy helicopter crashed in the English Channel. A Royal Navy serviceman has died in the incident involving a Merlin helicopter during a fleet exercise with the aircraft carrier HMS Queen Elizabeth, and as a result of exercise, the helicopter crashed. We've also got news coming from the British Defence Minister. So he stated that the UK's decision to suspend 30 of its 350 arms export licenses to Israel will not threaten Israel's ability to defend itself. So John Healey stated. We've also got some news coming from Serbia, and this is what I was stating about Kazan, the BRICS meeting. So the Serbian president turns down Putin's BRICS summit invite. So the Serbian president, Vučić, has not been able to accept Russia's President Vladimir Putin's invitation on the BRICS summit in Kazan next month. He stated that we have important guests coming from abroad at this time. We've also got news coming from Georgia that the EU suspends Georgia's accession to the EU. So the EU suspends Georgia's accession process over the LGBT ban law. So the European Union recalls that Georgia's accession process is effectively suspended and calls on authorities to return to the path of integration. So this comes as Georgia banned certain LGBT in Georgia, and this, as a result, the EU is suspending its Georgia's membership in the EU for now. We've also got some news coming from Azerbaijan and Armenia in the border region. So yesterday, the armed forces of Armenia, so this was stated by the Azerbaijan defense minister, fired small arms at positions of the Azerbaijani army in the direction of the Kubad region. So our units promptly took appropriate measures in response. So he didn't actually state if they actually shot back, but we've got some news. There's been some skirmishes on the Azerbaijan-Armenian border. We've also got news coming from Israel that the Israeli defense minister said that all terrorist organizations in the West Bank must be eliminated. So I'll keep you updated on that situation. We've also got news coming from Ethiopia that Ethiopia is currently in negotiations to sign an arms deal with the Islamic Republic of Iran worth over 120 million US dollars. So Ethiopia reportedly is interested in Iranian-made suicide drones such as the Shahad 136 and the Shahad 131, as well as combat UAVs such as the Modra 6, I think I pronounced that right. And we've also got news, we continue getting news that Ethiopia is moving military equipment to the border of Somalia. So this comes as very tense relations between Ethiopia and Somalia have been noted. So obviously I'm not sure if a war is going to break out here or something, but we'll see. But we can see the heavy armor transfer of Ethiopian armed vehicles to the border of Somalia. We've also got some news coming from India that a MiG-29 fighter jet of the Indian Air Force crashed near the border with Pakistan. This marks the Indian Air Force's 6th crash this year so far. So now let's head to Singapore. So the Prime Minister of India visited Singapore. During his visit, India and Singapore signed numerous of treaties, numerous of cooperation treaties and agreements. So these agreements will facilitate closer cooperations between India and Singapore in areas such as cybersecurity, 5G, and emerging technologies. We've also got news that an asteroid was discovered on Wednesday. So if you can see here in the bottom left corner, I decided to add this in because it looks pretty cool. An asteroid by the name of 2024 RW1 entered the atmosphere at a speed of 20.8 kilometers per second over the Philippines. And if you can see here bottom left corner, we can see the asteroid go by. So very interesting. We've also got news coming from Taiwan's defense. So the Taiwan's defense ministry notes that the People's Liberation Army have been conducting amphibious landing exercises in the Dongshan Island training area in the Fujian province since September the 3rd. Various types of aircraft, helicopters, and drones are being used, as well as landing ships and cargo ships for loading ground forces personnel, satellite images shows. And we've got some news coming from Xi Jinping at an African meeting between South Africa and China and numerous other African countries. But South Africa and cooperation between China, so South Africa and China are going to boost their cooperation. So very interesting news. That's all the news. They didn't actually have any specific agreements that were made. Well, I don't have them. All we know is that South Africa and China are going to have a significant boost in economic agreements between each country. We've also got news coming from, we've actually got a lot of news coming from the US. So the US Secretary of Justice has stated that we strongly counter any attempts by Russia, China, or any foreign party to interfere in our elections. ABC News has also confirmed the rules of the debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. So the debate will take place at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia without an audience and will last about 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. So that will be happening on September the 10th, I'm pretty sure. John Kirby, so the National Security Advisor, John Kirby, stated that Ukraine will not be able to target 90% of Russian aircraft with the ATACMS missiles, as Russia has moved them deeper into its territory, according to White House National Security Advisor John Kirby. And the US Navy commander was relieved of duty after an embarrassing photo. So the commander of the US Navy destroyer that was helping protect the San Diego base, the USS Theodore Roosevelt aircraft carrier in the Middle East, has been relieved of his duties some 4 months ago after being seen in this photo firing a rifle with the scope mounted backwards. So this Navy commander has been released because of this photo. So very interesting. And one other thing I forgot to mention is that the Belarusian military is now installing anti-drone equipment on military equipment. So we can see here in bottom left corner, this is just a couple photos we've gotten. So the Belarusian military have started to install anti-drone fortifications on, armor on armored vehicles. Well, that's all I have for you today. I'm Unseen News. I will try and provide you news that the medias around the world do not show you. I do these videos hopefully daily, so consider subscribing and liking. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.